We just love our music here.
Mm-hmm. How about that fancy new animation, huh?
That was
I
pretty snazzy.
love
Right?
it.
Mm-hmm.
It's good stuff. It's good
I
stuff.
love
Very
it.
nice.
Thank you for joining us tonight.
Hello, and welcome to Secular Sexuality. My name is Megan Bonner. Joining me, as always, is my co-host.
Howdy, I'm Christy Powell.
And with us today is special guest.
Clare Wuellner.
And you, among other wonderful things, are also you said, on the board or the director?
I'm president of the board of Foundation Beyond Belief. But the reason you asked me here is because of we're going to talk about something. I shouldn't give away what we're talking about. You guys.
Big mystery, big mystery. We definitely didn't absolutely announce it on the last
after this
episode.
commercial break.
We did not announce it on the last live episode. We didn't announce it like in the Discord. We didn't announce it anywhere. Tonight is hashtag #MeToo, a love story. So tonight we're going to be going over a few things, including the history of Me Too, and also some personal experiences and just general topics and stories related to Me Too, because as we all know, it is a very broad and very deep,
I see what you did there.
deep topic.
It's also heated.
Also heated.
Yes.
Yes.
Controversial and misunderstood.
By
a
many.
great many.
Yeah. Yep. So to dive in to begin with, Claire, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you wanted to touch on with Me Too tonight?
Right. I had a super interesting experience last night. I wasn't expecting it to go like it did. Center for Inquiry had a discussion around the Me Too movement, and the way it was advertised, somebody put out the advertisement and it said that they were going to be talking about whether men should be scared, whether boys and men should be scared, because President Trump had just said that. The person's wife said, that's not cool. Me Too isn't about what's going on with the men, it's about what's going on with women, and you need to reframe that, re-advertise it, and get a woman to lead the discussion. So he called me, which was fine, and I went thinking we're going to talk about Me Too.
Sure.
And there were 8 people there, maybe 9. 3 were women, including me. And I said, okay, what do you got, people? And let's start this discussion. And the very first thing the guy says, man, when I get on elevators, I hate this. I'm so afraid that, I might have to get off, because what if she turns me in if I just, look at her wrong or something? And I'm thinking, oh boy. And then another guy, he starts talking about how he's afraid to get married, and he's afraid of all these things, and afraid of women. And I'm thinking, wow.
Man who's afraid of commitment. That's this is a cultural moment. This is something new.
Now, take it easy on all these guys, because what I didn't realize was that they had not seen the new framing, and they did not realize that I was basing everything on the new framing. So I'm coming at this from one way, and they're coming from another way, and very much cross purposes. And I'm thinking I've got a room full of MRAs. Men's rights activist people. I'm like, Jesus Christ. And I just start to get really pissed off. And then I realized what's going on. And what was fascinating was by the end of the evening, I think everybody felt heard. It's not so much that men are afraid and we should be, oh, poor man. It's that what they were talking about is that because of the way things are, they have to learn to navigate new ways. That's unfortunate, but true. Over and over it came up. So I'm interested in a girl, and I don't know how to ask her out. And I'm like, ask her, talk to her, and
Use words.
Use your words. I couldn't be that nasty. But I was really rather surprised, because in the case of that particular comment, because it assumed that women aren't going to respond like people. And there was a lot of assumption of bad faith women's part that we like
out to get them.
Yeah, we like falsely accusing men, and we send mixed messages, and we're all this sort of stuff, and it was frustrating for me for so many reasons. Men are just as confusing to women, I think. I think that there's a lot of disconnect between the genders. I'm sure Christy could go on about this quite a bit.
I mean, as somebody with a very disconnected gender, I hear you.
Right.
And we've touched on it.
Right. So, yeah, there's that, and then the fact that it felt like they were down on women, and I'm just going to say this. I had a concussion in April, and I sometimes kind of revert, and I'm having a hard time with it tonight. So forgive me if I lose track of what I'm saying. Anyway, it was super fascinating. I've got a lot out of it because I felt like, guys are coming up in a different world. I'm old enough, God, this is scary, that when I dated at the beginning, guys always paid for dinner. They drove. They asked. It was very clear cut. You didn't have any concerns about, do I do this? Do I not do this? Do I?
There was like a structure to the whole thing.
And now it's just all up in the air. But I got married at 37, and by that time, it's everybody pays for their own. The guys can ask girls, girls can ask guys, et cetera, et cetera. So, and these folks. I'm married now and have been for 17 years. Good God. And so I don't have to navigate this at all. These people were 29, 30. They're right in the middle of this big transition. I think it is tricky for them. My kids, my son and daughter, 15 and 13 respectively, they get it. It's like they're coming up, and it's normal. So, and that's just my small sample size. Don't take that like the whole world is that way. But I kind of get where they're coming from. Just the same, I'm not particularly clear that he heard that as afraid as he is, he might lose a job. I'm afraid I might get killed. And he's like, well, men get killed too. I'm like, yes. But
also, all lives matter.
Yeah.
But that's not what we're necessarily here to talk about.
Right.
It's like
exactly that.
It's statistics and likelihood over paranoia.
And here was what I just dearly loved, and I'm going to give some advice to people. Didn't ask for advice.
They're here.
Yeah. Right. I am 53, and
don't look it.
Oh, you're so and I look back at my younger person, excuse me, and I know so much more. And since I know that, when somebody is older than me and they tell me something, I listen. And I don't see a lot of young people doing that. I sound like an old, crusty fart right now. But at this thing, there was a guy who was 76 or 7. The wisdom he laid down was amazing. He could really say what needed to be said to these young men, and they could hear it. Like the guy who was talking about, I asked this woman out, or no, I told her a joke, and she laughed. I thought we were a friend. This is at work. And then the next day, HR pulls me aside, and he says, listen, she's trying to survive. She's not your friend. You're working with her. She has to behave a certain way to maintain the relationship and keep her job. You need to learn there. It was beautiful the way he did it, much more kindly than I just did. It was amazing. So when someone with more experience than you talks, listen. And if somebody is a part of the demographic that has the experience, listen. That was the other thing. There were people who insisted that they knew about women's plights, and they were not women. And I said, no. I said, I have friends who are people of color, lots of them, dear friends since childhood. I'm still a racist. I mean, that's inherent in our society. I'm racist.
And not just society. I think it's inherent in just being human because we are tribal.
Yeah. Yeah, but the thing is that I'm doing, and if you're smart, is you try to push that back as much as possible. Mm-hmm. Anyhow, it was a fascinating experience, and now we can talk more about Me Too in other respects.